and installed a different sect as the leader of Iraq, and that was Malik, al-Malik, I believe, Prime Minister Malik. But he was so brutal. He wanted to seek revenge from years of maltreatment and marginalization by the Sunni, led by Saddam Hussein. So that didn't go down well. Sunnis were marginalized, and that led to the gradual formation of ISIS that we have today. So some of the military generals or soldiers under Saddam Hussein now allied themselves with ISIS, being led by al-Baghdadi. Okay? So they took over, I believe, Mosul, and from Mosul they moved into Fallujah, and from Fallujah they moved into Raqqa, and from Raqqa they moved into Syria. So today ISIS is in Iraq and Syria, and the civil war in Syria created a vacuum, a leadership vacuum for ISIS to breed on. So ISIS used brutal force, to displace their enemies. They were so wicked. You can compare ISIS to the Thuggees, in India back in the 2nd century. Thuggees, they used to cut people's neck. So they used brutal force to attack their enemies. So today, what we now have as the single most important non-state threat to the national security of the United States is ISIS. And now President Trump, hopefully, will be able to neutralize these terrorist organizations. I believe that the current Secretary of Defense, James Mattis, is now in the process of submitting a blueprint to the White House on how to defeat ISIS. In conclusion, from 1498 to 1898, the United States was the moralist of the world. It had no power. After 1898, the United States defeated the powerful Spain. And that defeat put the United States on the map. The United States was now ready to assert its new power. But make no mistake, post 1898, the United States was only interested in controlling the whole of the Western Hemisphere alone. Okay? Because there was no way the United States would have displaced the European powers. But in the Western Hemisphere, the United States was beginning to assert its dominance by Monroe Doctrine. Between 1898 and 1913, the United States was gradually snailing into Europe by loaning money and military hardware to the United Kingdom and other European powers to fight the war against Germany, the Ottoman Empire, and Austro-Hungarian Empire. Between 1914 and 1917, we had World War I. After World War I in 1917, the United States became a dominant power. Okay? In 1917. President Woodrow Wilson formed the League of Nations in an attempt to usher in democracy into Europe. The Wilsonian doctrine, or what we will call today the idealist theory, okay, did not pan out. Germany wanted a revenge because Germany was so humiliated by France and the United Kingdom during World War I. And the only way to shed your humiliation was by relitigating the lost war. Between 1929 and 1932, there was what we now call the Great Depression of 1929. The United States was now trying to manage its own domestic affairs. In Europe, Germany was now trying to build its lost empire. Between 1939 and 1945, World War II broke out. Okay? It ended in 1945. World War II was between the Allied power and the Axis power. So this is the world map. Very interesting. Okay? You don't have to struggle with this. Look at it this way. Germany, Italy, and in the Pacific, the Imperial Japan formed an alliance on the one hand. The United States, the United Kingdom, Russia formed an alliance, and they went after one another. At the end of World War II, the Axis power lost. Germany was defeated, and Germany was divided into two. Japan was also divided. No, Japan was defeated but not divided. But the United States was the post-war gatekeeper of Japan. In Germany, however, the United States and the Soviet Union were the gatekeepers of the post-war world order in that part of the world. West Germany was being taken care of by the United States, and East Germany was being taken care of by the Soviet Union. That was the outcome of the brutal war in 1945. So there were two superpowers in the world after 1945, the United States and the Soviet Union. By 1991, with the collapse of the Berlin Wall, the wall that separated East Germany from West Germany collapsed. And it meant one thing: the demise of the Soviet Union. And these events led to the United States being crowned as the only superpower in the whole of the universe. With that, the United States had no viable state actor to challenge its supremacy. So from 1991, Although you can go back to 1979, we had the non-state actors now becoming the most important threat to the peace and stability of the world, especially to the national security of the United States. And you can trace that progression from 1990 to 2000, which I explained earlier. And by 2001, the World Trade Center was attacked by these non-state actors. And after that, the United States invaded Afghanistan and Iraq. And now we have ISIS. So ISIS is now the single most important threat, non-state threat to the United States. And from now, President Trump has to deal with the conundrum. Thank you very much for listening, and I appreciate your patience, and I hope you have learned something in this conversation. Thank you. Bye.